Last time we learned from a shamanic perspective that it's not necessarily easy to be wise. And in fact, there are 4 challenges of wisdom. And those 4 challenges are overcoming fear, validating clarity, using power wisely, and accepting our own mortality. And today, let's explore what it means to have wisdom from the perspective of some of our Buddhist teachings. Hi, it's Margaret Maloney, and welcome to Season 3 of the Death Dhamma podcast. I'm so glad you're here, and I'm so appreciative that you are part of my community. And yet, I seek not to be attached to the idea of the podcast or even to the idea of our community. And that's our topic this season: attachment, clinging, and aversion. What happens when we really want something? What happens when we really don't want something? And what does it do to our suffering and dissatisfaction? Let's dive in and find out a little bit more with today's episode. Once we are wise, that's it. Congratulations. You've reached the goal. You've climbed the mountain. You've obtained wisdom. And now you can just sit and dwell in that wisdom for the rest of your days. Sounds great. Do you think it's true? Do you think it's false? I want it to be true. Where the fallacy is in that statement is there's work. And there's work that we must do every day to acquire and continue to live with wisdom. When it comes to Buddhist teachings and wisdom and what do we need to do to be wise, I just felt like there were so many different directions that I could have taken. And what I'm really wanting to do today is kind of compare those 4 challenges of wisdom that we learned about last time from Mike Sanders and do some, comparative analysis, if you will, of that and some of our own Buddhist teachings. So after contemplating this and wondering what to do and how to do this, I realized it's about coming back to basics, which is so often the case for me, right? Coming back to the truth of suffering and the truth of attachment and the truth of impermanence. And today, coming back to the Noble Eightfold Path. We've been given the Noble Eightfold Path to help us with the truth of suffering and to let go of attachment and to accept impermanence. And so we've been given right view, right? Understanding the true nature of things, right intention, also called right resolve or right thinking, to seek to direct your mind away from anger and fear and toward loving kindness and compassion and generosity, right speech, speaking the truth, not speaking out of anger, and not engaging in gossip or divisive language, not forcing our opinion on others, right action, to abstain from killing, lying, stealing, sexual misconduct, and abuse of intoxicants. If you cannot help others, then don't harm them. Right livelihood, earning your living in an honest and moral way, not in a way that harms yourself or others. And this includes using your income in an honest and moral way. Right effort, working to prevent negative states of mind, overcoming negative states of mind, cultivating positive states of mind, and maintaining positive states of mind. Wow, now you can see why we say right effort, because there's also a lot of effort there, isn't there? Right mindfulness, paying moment-to-moment attention to what is, paying attention to your body, your feelings, and your mind, and how they are impacted by grief, or fear, or self-compassion. Paying attention to the thoughts that come and go. Right concentration, developing the ability to concentrate with a mind that is free of anger, greed, and delusion. We take these eightfold steps, these steps on the path, and we often divide them sometimes into the 3 ways of living or the 3 types of teachings. We might say sila, or virtue, or morality. We might say samadhi, or concentration. And we might say wisdom, or prajna, or discernment. And we divide the path into these 3 sections, if I can say it that way. So, for example, virtue is made up of right speech, right action, and right livelihood. Concentration is right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. Discernment, or wisdom, right view, and right intention. And of course, these things are meant to work together, right? To come together in such a way so as to help us escape, gain liberation from suffering. And so if we go back to the shamanic challenges of wisdom, if we look at them again, overcoming fear, validating clarity, using power wisely, and accepting one's own mortality, I think we could say that that also could lead to liberation from suffering, right? Because if we live without fear, and if we have clarity, so clarity, I feel like we can map that to our right view and our right intention, right? When we have clarity, we understand that there is stress and discomfort and that we can alleviate it. And when we have right intention, that we are, seeking to direct our minds away from anger and fear towards loving kindness and generosity. So we can definitely see that. Using power wisely, that is also a form of discernment. And I would say, I can't use power wisely if I'm not truly going all in by living my life on the Noble Eightfold path. Because to engage in wrong speech is not using my power wisely. To engage in wrong actions and, harming others and asserting myself over others, that's not using power wisely. But dwelling in a place of right livelihood and working with right effort to prevent those negative states of mind and paying moment-to-moment attention and developing that clarity. So we go back to that clarity. That is also using power wisely. And to accept our mortality, to accept our mortality does require us to have that right view, right? To have that wisdom or prajna or discernment, to have that right view and understanding. And so we can very much understand and see that the challenges of wisdom can be present in our lives as Buddhists. They are present in our lives as Buddhists, whether we exactly name them in this way. And that when we are grappling with the challenges of wisdom, we could be having suffering. And when we follow the Noble Eightfold Path, then we are working to live in a place of wisdom. We're going to be dwelling in a place of wisdom. And when we are living and drawing on right virtue, living ethically and purely, this is the ground of our path, like the intention of our path, the path that we're meant to follow. And also when we follow the path, being in a place of right virtue and morality is also the result of the path. And that is part of how we stay living in wisdom. Because it is true that to live in wisdom, these challenges, so the way Mike said it is that these challenges, the 4 challenges of wisdom, must be faced every day. And true wisdom requires constant work and self-reflection. And constant work and self-reflection just happen to be part of our path and part of our way by following the Noble Eightfold Path, whether we exactly express it in the same way or not, right? And so when we've got that samadhi translated as, concentration, calm abiding, mindfulness. This is the foundation. This is what we get in our meditation. We settle and we calm the mind through our dedicated practice. And when we do this, we are able to achieve peace and eventually no longer controlled by delusions and conflicting negative emotions. And that can help us establish ourselves in prajna or wisdom, right? To have that insight and discriminating mind. And so we may think of that as unique to Buddhism. Others may not, because other ways of achieving spiritual enlightenment have their own way of expressing this and of living this and of teaching how to reach this goal. But for us, using the powerful, concentrated mind, we are able to penetrate the true nature of reality. So that's that within the 4 challenges of wisdom, validating clarity and being able to accept our own mortality come from being able to penetrate the true nature of reality and free ourselves from ignorance. That's what's coming to us when we are living the Eightfold Path and supported by virtue and calm abiding or mindfulness and wisdom. And so I would say that, is there a 100% match between the shamanic way? No, of course not. There are different ways. There are different ways of expressing. There are different ways of reaching, living in a place of wisdom. But what we share is that common understanding of to really live peacefully and to come to a place of enlightenment means to overcome the challenges we face on the way to wisdom. You and I have the Noble Eightfold Path helping us, and true wisdom requires constant work and self-reflection. For you and I, living on that Noble Eightfold Path, it's not a checklist. It's not a checklist. It's not like, okay, today I had right view. I'm done with that. I'm going to move on to right intention. Okay, great. I had right intention. Today I'm going to have right speech. It is dwelling in that place where we are seeking to always be engaging in right view, right intention, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort. Remember, then there is effort, isn't there? Mindfulness, and right concentration. And that's our way. And I'm joining you on the path and cheering us all on as we seek to live in a place of wisdom. I would love to hear from you, your thoughts, your suggestions, your own stories about attachment. So follow this link, I'm going to read it to you in a minute here, to leave me a 90-second message with your ideas and suggestions. You can go to https://www.speakpipe.com/death_Dhamma_podcast. I suppose you could also just use your favorite search engine to say SpeakPipe Death Dhamma Podcast. And there you can record an audio message for me. And be sure to come over to margaretmaloney.com. That's MargaretMeloni.com and join the community. You've been listening to the Death Dhamma Podcast with your host, Margaret Maloney. Thank you so much for being here. Come find me on margaretmaloney.com, MargaretMeloni.com.
And until we meet again, may you be well, may you be happy, may you be at ease, and may you be free from suffering. Bye for now.